Time we'll begin the school board meeting. I would ask if Ms. Glenda Morrison Fair would lead us in prayer as well as the Pledge of Allegiance. Please stand.
Let us pray. Dear God, let us observe a moment of silence daily as we ponder this magnificent world. Let us talk less and listen more with our hearts. Let us all represent positive leaders for the community. Continue the good work accomplished by this school board, administrators, and other individuals as we observe this holiday representing the many things for which we have to be thankful. We humbly ask that you guide us to act with wisdom and a common purpose that will advance public education, student learning, and protect school safety. Amen.
We have a
Oh, I'm sorry.
have a person.
Oh,
Yes,
okay.
yes, where's our person? There you go. There you go.
Madam Chairman.
Hold on, Mr. Lewis is going to introduce you.
Thank you, Madam Chairman.
Sorry.
So I'm really excited. Amelia Myrtle is going to lead the pledge for us today. She's a fifth grader at Bethel Elementary School. The thing that I think is really cool about her is she is the student body president for Bethel Elementary School. And while we were talking, she provided a lot of campaign tips that I think some of us could benefit from, including the idea that you would pass out buttons to the older students, but stickers to the younger ones so they don't hurt themselves looking at your campaign stuff, which I thought was super smart, and I did none of that. So I'm really excited to have Amelia here, and she's going to lead the pledge.
Thank you.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Mr. Lewis, would you like to go down and have a picture made with the family, principal, everybody? Oh, where's that certificate? Nancy. Nancy, where's the certificate? Nancy, I do not see the certificate. Oh, there it is. Okay. At this time, I would like Robbie Bannister, if you would be so kind as to come forward on behalf of the Greenville County School Board trustees to receive the Miracle Worker Award. Now, do you have any family with you?
Yes, ma'am, I do.
Well, let's just get them all out of here, because we don't want anyone to miss out on this honor. But at this time, I'm going to talk while y'all come up. Tonight, it is our honor to present the Miracle Workers Award to a heroic Greenville County schools. The Miracle Workers Award was first approved by the board in 1996 to recognize individuals for going beyond the call of duty. Robbie Bannister has taught four-year-old kindergarten at Golden Square Child Development Center for 12 years, with a total of 20 years teaching experience. His center director, Abby Wilson, describes him as the most kind and compassionate educator that she has ever met. He is patient and kind and an incredibly skilled artist. Robbie is truly an amazing example of what all teachers should be. He is truly a gift, and students who have the privilege of being in his classroom remember him forever. This incredibly gifted teacher is here tonight because he recently came upon an emergency situation and reacted heroically, which is consistent with the character, his character. Please watch this video to hear the story.
It's nice out here today. Stay over here on this side right now. There we go.
Robbie Bannister is as sweet and kind as the 4-year-olds he teaches.
We'll just go down the slide and all good to go down it. This is my 21st year teaching. I've taught 4K. This is my 19th year teaching 4K. They love to learn, and I love to teach, and I love to just hang out with them and draw and play.
He's also a creature of habit who thrives on routine.
Now remember, how do we walk to the door? My wife calls me a rule follower, and I'm about schedules, because I guess, we have to be about schedules in here. That's the only way they learn, and they're so used to them, and we follow it to a T every single day. So I follow it to a T when I'm not here either. So
Robbie leaves for work at Golden Strip Child Development Center at 6:45 every morning.
Batman, is this you as Batman, Michael? Yeah.
But on September 18th, he was running behind.
I was 5 minutes late leaving. I had forgotten something downstairs, so I went downstairs to get it, and a couple other things. And before when I left, it was 6:50, which I wasn't running late. I was just 5 minutes late leaving that day.
He took his usual route down Pleasantburg Drive, and during his commute, he witnessed a car wreck.
It's still as clear now as it was, a month ago. But I come up on that. I was there when the accident happened, and come upon a scene, and and it was hard. It was kind of hard, Just I went to help somebody else, and then when I turned the corner, that's when I noticed someone laying in the road.
That someone was a 13-year-old middle school student who'd been walking his little sister to the bus stop when he was struck by a car.
And for a moment, you're just like, you don't know what's going on. I mean, it's like, for a microsecond, it's like, is this real? And then I was like, oh, it is. And I immediately got out of my car, and I went and I did what we train here so many times to do, check the scene. That's what I did first. And then I immediately went to him and noticed he was unresponsive, wasn't breathing, and I knew what I had to do, so I immediately started CPR. And I was doing that and praying as well. I mean, God got me through the situation. Now, He put me there for a reason, and He also, called me and helped me to be able to utilize what I knew at that moment. Because as much as we train, you still, it's still different when it's a real person. So at that moment, I was doing the CPR. And I knew I had to call 911 because no one else was there. It was just me. And so I did 30 compressions, which is what we're supposed to do. And then I stopped, and then I got my phone, and I dialed 911 real quick. And then I went talking to her, but I went back to compressions with one arm, one hand.
While Robbie was performing CPR, the teenager coughed and then started to breathe.
I was just like, thank you, Lord. That's the first thing I was just, thank you, Jesus. That's all I could do, is just thank Him for, getting him to the point of where, I knew it was bad, and, and at that moment, you just, are praying for the child at that moment. Just the scene breathing was, like, oh, I'm glad he's breathing. But then I just never took my hand off of him. I left my hand on his shoulder because I wanted to make sure he was going to continue to breathe.
Robbie took a few days away from work after the accident. He sought counseling for the trauma and then requested to meet the boy and his family.
Between first time and second time he's up, they actually had gotten him up and sitting him in a chair, and so he's smiling. He can't talk with him because he's got this, thing around his neck, but he was, talking kind of low to us, and I was talking to him, telling him I've been praying for him, thinking a lot about it. I said, you have not been off my mind one moment since that happened, and he just smiled. And I got to meet his parents, and it was very nice to meet them, and, just get to give them a hug. And I was, after that happened, I was like, okay, I'm so thankful for this. I'm just thankful, God's got a plan for that boy, and he needed, he needed me to intervene, I guess, to help him out a little bit, but I would do it again.
Robbie is continuing therapy, but also relying on prayer and the energy and love of the 4-year-olds who fill his day with joy.
I don't like the word hero. You want to call them heroes. You call the firemen, the EMS, policemen, doctors, and nurses heroes too. Because what I learned from that, what really opened my eyes, is the fact that I did it one time, and it was traumatic, and it's still taking me time to get over it. And yet you have all those guys I just mentioned doing it multiple times a day, multiple times a week, every day. We're going to walk to the water fountain. Ready? Let's go.
He may not claim the title of hero, but he is one to first responders, to the victim and his family, to the school district that employs him, and to the children who rely on his compassion and quick thinking every day.
You know, we don't do that.
So on behalf of the school board trustees in Greenville County Schools, and for you being a great part of our Greenville County School District family, and for doing all you do for children and every day of your life, we are very appreciative and we honor you tonight with this award, and we want to get y'all in this picture so everybody get close and personal. So we want everybody involved because that's what we do here in Greenville County School District. Where are you? Where are you right? Okay, Bert. You get right beside me, Bert.
Y'all feel better to be seen.
All right, okay, yeah. All right. This is yours. Family, everybody here, Lisa, everybody else, come on. You
Yeah, I gotta come on in.
Come over here. Oh, well,
Oh, yeah.
we want everyone, parents are, if it weren't for y'all, he wouldn't be here. That's your parent loss? Well, still with me with the parent loss. Right up here with us. I'm glad to be both of y'all. That's your baby? God, which is your oldest? Come on in, Mom. Come on in. Yeah, y'all just go in.
Okay, we ready? Right now, please. On three. 1, 2, 3. One more. 1, 2, 3. Thank you.
All right, Rob, it doesn't drag you. Pin down there, but I always like to start a meeting off on a good note, a great note, and that is great. I'd like to entertain a motion to adopt the consent calendar.
Motion to approve.
Second. All in any discussion? All in favor, please address by raising your right hand. All opposed, please address by raising your right hand. The motion carries. At this time, 3.01, appearance of visitors. I will ask Ms. Wells if she will handle the information and the announcements.
Yes, ma'am. We have 2 speakers that have signed up tonight. Before I call the first speaker, I want to go over some rules for us. We appreciate you being here to speak. And as our policy spells out, when your name's called, you can come to the podium at the end of the board dais over here. We have a microphone and a light system. As a speaker, you have 3 minutes to speak. The light system will be green for the first 2 minutes and then turn yellow when you have 1 minute remaining. In keeping with our board policy, KCA, abusive language or personal attacks aimed at students or staff members will not be permitted. All speakers are expected to behave in an orderly and respectful manner. The board will not engage in discussion with the speaker or respond to comments, and the superintendent will designate a member of the staff to respond to each speaker in an appropriate and timely manner. So the first speaker we have tonight is Kayla Krim.
It's certainly a hard act to follow, not to go after the award recipient. But I want to introduce myself. My name, do I have to push anything? I'm sorry.
It doesn't sound like it's on.
No. One button on it, but I don't want to press anything. Yeah, you're on. We good? Okay. Can you hear me? Yes. My name's Kayla Krim. I'm a parent of a student at Bryson Elementary School. His name is Sebastian Bastidas Krim. He is energetic, fun, funny, and he has autism. And he has been receiving ABA therapy for about a year. He previously went to Golden Strip Child Development Center, which is in Bryson's backyard. And the bus system was able to take him to therapy after school, and it was very convenient for us. This year, because of the transportation needs of the elementary school, that was not a possibility. So with the approval of the principal, both of his RBTs passed the appropriate background check and were assisting him during after school. 6 weeks later, we were abruptly informed of a policy that prevents this from happening, and were asked to no longer receive services on campus. But after speaking to several people, including Angie Phillips and Tracy Hogan, I was able to obtain a copy of the policy KG. And I wanted to point out that number 1 outlines all of the conditions that can be met to use Greenville County School property for like what it can be used for. A talks about that it can be used for scheduled hours where it's open and staffed. B refers to the fact that the instructional program has to not be disrupted in any way. C says that no attempt is made to raise money during the time of use. D refers to the request for use has to be approved by the superintendent or his designee. And E says permission to use the building shall not extend for more than 12 months and may be revoked at any time. I'd like to point out that the accommodation and assistance my son was receiving meets all that criteria, and I do not agree that it was against policy KG. I'd like to have it on record that ABA is a medically necessary treatment for kids with autism. It is no different than someone whose legs don't work using a wheelchair. It's no different than with allergies taking a prescribed medication. And throughout history, disadvantaged groups have had to fight for equity. I noticed that there are females and African American people on the board, and I encourage you to remember the decades that came before us and everything we had to fight for everyone to have equity. And I'm not saying that my child is going to be the valedictorian. Knowing his personality, he'll probably be the class clown, but I think that he deserves equal opportunity. And right now, the time for equity goes to the kids with autism, and I think that Greenville County Schools has a unique opportunity to lead the way in this area. Our neighboring counties already allow ABA. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Krim. Our next speaker is Mark Livingston.
Hi, you guys. First of all, thank you for allowing me to speak here. I'm in support of her right here, and I felt like it's necessary for me to speak as well. My name is Mark Livingston. I have 2 kids with autism as well, one 6, one 3, named Arabella and Ashlyn. Upon starting at the Greenville County Public School System, when my daughter was 3 years old, she went to Woodland Elementary as well as Oakview. At the time, there was a lot of students in there, but there was only one teacher and a couple of aides. Well, my daughter is 7 years old right now and still not potty trained. She has struggles with using utensils as far as kitchen utensils and things like that to eat. So she needs a lot of support. With our teachers who are already overworked and understaffed right now, those are things they can't necessarily work with her on. And if you would look at the research, kids who receive ABA as far as autism, they are much more likely to succeed and be productive members of society. All we ask, as myself and her and all the other people, is that our kids given us the same equal opportunities as other kids. Right now, like I said, there are neighboring counties that do allow this particular therapy in school, and Greenville has a chance to set a precedence as well, because all we want is just the same as your kids, anybody else's kids. And we just want to be able to have our kids have the opportunity to succeed. And if they need the extra help, as far as a therapist, as far as an aide to help them with the things that a teacher cannot, then I do think that could benefit our kids as well and help them to be productive members of society, reach their grade goals, and, hopefully we all want our kids to go to college and do things. Now, is that possible? Yes, but with the current structure right now, I do believe that we do set our kids up to be held back and for failure. And I do think that we should make the necessary changes to accommodate all students as far as, the kids with autism, as well as any special needs. Like I said, if a child needs crutches or a wheelchair or aid or anything like that, then we rush to help them. And as far as having a child, just have an ABA therapist to help them with everyday needs that a special education teacher cannot. I do think it's medically necessary, and I do think it's something we should look into adopting. Thank you so much for letting me speak.
Thank you. That's it, Ms. Levitas Wells.
Thank you so much. I'd like to ask, I see a lot of students in the audience, Furman University. Will y'all stand up? We just want to acknowledge y'all and thank y'all for being here. I'm sure that your political science educators, biologists and chemists and everything. If I miss one, did I miss one? Business. I'm so sorry. Well, thank y'all for being here. I would say that this is going to be a short meeting, but if I did, we'd be here till 10 o'clock tonight. So I will not say anything except enjoy. Okay? Are there other students? Thank you. You may be seated. Are there other students from other colleges or schools? Yes. Schools? Malden High School. Go Mavericks. Very good. Thank you for being here. Any others? Y'all may stand up. Malden High. There you go. See? There you go. Thank y'all so much for being here. Is there a special reason? It's just what?
It's one of the requirements through curriculum.
I like that requirement. I thought you wanted to run for the school board, but maybe one day.
I think there might be teacher cadets.
Yeah, teacher cadets. Well, we hope one day you'll be teaching in our county, and you will be at Malden High as a teacher and making a difference in younger people's lives. So thank you so much for being here. Thank you. Enjoy. Any other schools? Any other students? Thank you all for being in it. Oh, yes.
This is a little one. This is Aiden Bryant, and he is not right now at Greenville County School. I would like for him to be.
Okay. Okay. Yes. There he goes.
He also invites me on stage
There you go. Thank you.
Came in support and to hear the speakers.
Great. Thank you so much. Thanks, Aiden. At this point, I'd also be remiss if I did not thank Ms. Bush for her beautiful plants and the display. She just makes our night brighter every school board. Sometimes I will give mine away, and sometimes I'm selfish and I will take it home. But thank you. I see these plants.
So you take them home and water them and give them a little sunshine, and they will grow to be.
You know, I think my husband would like this. This is exactly what he'll get tonight. This is great. Thank you so much, Ms. Bush, and tell your husband equally that we are very appreciative. At this point, we'll move to 4.0. I will turn this over to Dr. Royster.
Thank you, Ms. Levitas Wells. Tonight in the superintendent's report, as has been our custom and tradition, in recognition of American Education Week, which is actually this week, in recognition of that month, normally in November we ask the District Teacher of the Year to deliver the superintendent's report. And so tonight we will hear from Susan McCoy, who is the Greenville County Schools District Teacher of the Year. And as she comes forward, I believe I've also noticed there are some past Teachers of the Year here, if they would stand so that we might recognize them, and some current school level several Teachers of the Year. Are there some of those here as well?
Teacher forum, everyone stand.
So if you're a current Teacher of the Year from a school, Teacher Forum member,
Right.
we appreciate all of you being here tonight. And, as we all know, the single most impactful thing to student attainment and student achievement is a quality teacher in the classroom. And we're most fortunate in Greenville County Schools to have nearly 6,000 quality teachers. And tonight we're going to hear from the best of the best in Susan McCoy, our District Teacher of the Year. Susan?
Thank you for letting me be here today, and I just want to say thank you to the board. I think I'm maybe the only one in the building that has been through just about every one of the superintendents. I started in Greenville County Schools in 1968 at Augusta Circle, graduated from Greenville High in 1980, left for college, and then came back, and the last 31 of my 33 years have been in Greenville County Schools. I also am a multi-generational Greenville High, go Raiders, graduates in my family. So when I say I have love for Greenville County, I truly mean that. And so when I was asked to speak today, I really was trying to figure out what was the best thing to say. And what I really felt in my heart was that I have to speak for my students. That's who I am. That's what I've spent my life doing. And that's what I want to say. But before I do that, I just want to say again, Dr. Royster, thank you for what you do. School board, thank you for what you do. Teachers, students, thank you for what you do, because it takes all of us. And I also want to give a special shout out to Debbie Bush. I've never been able to do this, and so I'm going to take a little bit of time. Derek, I had her precious son years ago at Duncan Chapel, and she has been phenomenal. She's helped so much. From donating flowers for me to dissect in my class for multiple years, whether you know that or not, you did, to just everything that you all have done. But thank you from my heart, because I have felt your effect many, many years, and thank you. Thank you very much. So when I was thinking about talking, I moved to Tanglewood this year, and the reason I moved to Tanglewood this year is because my principal is a former student. I thought it was a great time to get back, and when I thought I was going to Tanglewood for him, who I dearly love him, I had him in 4th grade, I realized that I'm actually going, and I think this is probably the most important thing that I've ever spoken about, is the amazing kids at Tanglewood, and I hope I don't cry when I say this. When I said that I was going to Tanglewood, many people said to me, well, if it was a look, they said to me, what are you thinking? Why would you do that? I had an amazing school at Greer, people that I loved, but my heart has always been with hurting kids. At my school, we have 100% poverty. We have 25% special ed, 43% ELL, and 100% amazing kids. I want to say that Tanglewood, just as a teacher and in the community, my husband's with the sheriff's office, worked the area for many, many years. Tanglewood gets the reputation of being the worst school, the hardest school. I've even been told by people in education that you can go there, but they're never going to do well. And that's just not true. They're amazing. I have 3 students that, since their 6th grade year, have taken it upon themselves to be the positive voice for Tanglewood. They have created social media accounts to make everyone aware that there are some amazing people, and they are amazing people, along with the other 100 and something that I teach. We struggle. We have strongholds that are adults' faults. We have strongholds that we just have to overcome, and we need each of you to support us and to love us and to help us. But in their words, I told them I was going to speak tonight, and through Teacher of the Year, I've been able to speak a lot. And my kids always say to me, did you talk about us? And I want to be able to go back and say, yes, I told them you're the most amazing kids I've ever taught. So my 3 students who wanted to be positive wrote a letter to you tonight. So I feel like the best thing I can do is for you to hear their voice. So here goes. Here at Tanglewood Middle, there are many positive things, but with those positives, some negatives follow. One important thing to us is our Tanglewood community. The image that people created around the school is untrue. We'd like to say that we've gained much needed progress together as a whole. We love proving to you why Tanglewood still has hope. Our teachers and professional support staff really take the time to listen to us and take in student concerns. Also help us with our academics. Dr. Anderson always takes the time to listen to his students' opinions and beliefs. But with the positives we've showcased, everyone seems to see our negatives. Like fighting and major issues that discredit Tanglewood, 80% of our student body has never received a referral. There are also other negative things at Tanglewood, but you can help us because we're not the only school where this happens. Bullying is always a big topic in school, and it's hard on people, and it's something that goes on in every school and in every place, not just our district. We as the district need to alert all students about the importance to treat everyone with respect. Kids are not born to be mean and cruel, and there's someone who teaches them. We can bring the community together by having more open houses and other fun days that can be open to the community to come and help us. Next year, we won't be here. They're all in 8th grade. We won't be here to help, so we need to leave something for our rising 6th graders. We need more people to rise up and become leaders for the school and role models for all students. All of the students and the staff that want to change the school for the better are leaving something great for the new 6th graders. We are leaving them a better place to learn and a school to be proud of with a better environment. We want to invite you to our school and to show you the great things you don't hear about Tanglewood Middle and all the students and the staff that try to make a difference in the school and community. Sincerely, Cynthia, Amarian, and Michelle. And I just want to say that at our school, at my school, my kids deserve the best. Sorry. And I see what they put in every day, and I see what they go through every day. And it's what most adults couldn't go through and still come to school. And they're not perfect, and they don't behave perfectly. And sometimes I want to run out and never come back. But I know that they need us. They need all of us. We need you. We have 24 first through third year teachers at my school. 50% of my school are brand new. And not because our kids aren't deserving, is because we have a really hard time getting new teachers. So I would ask if there's anything I can ask of the board, and if there's anything that I can do in my time this year to leave a lasting effect, is to help us to get veteran teachers, new teachers. We love our new teachers. The GATE program is amazing, and they get so much. But not all of our new teachers are GATE, and we need your support. So anything that you can do to help us to get to help our students to feel that they deserve the best, because they don't right now, but we're getting there. So I just want to say thank you for the opportunity. God has directed my path throughout my whole career, and I know that He put me in this position, and now I truly know it's to speak for the great kids at Tanglewood. So I just want to say thank you, and anything you can do to help us, we would greatly appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Susan. Thank you so much, Susan, and now we know why you were Teacher of the Year. So thank you. At this time, we'll go to 5.01, and 5.01, recommended action to accept the FY 2019 Comprehensive Annual Financial Report as presented. The recommended motion from the Committee of the Whole is to accept the FY 2019 Comprehensive Annual Financial Report as presented. Coming from the Committee of the Whole, it needs no second. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, please address by raising your right hand. All opposed, your right hand. It carries unanimously. At this time, we'll go to 6.01, Internal Auditing Service Project Status Report. Mr. Barber.
Thank you, Madam Chairman.
Yes, sir.
We're presenting our monthly project status report to disclose information on projects that we're currently working on, and I'll be happy to address any questions.
Are there any questions for Mr. Barber? Any questions? No questions for Mr. Barber? You're doing such a great job. Thank you, Mr. Barber. There are no questions. Having no actions, we will move on to 7.01. Committee liaison reports. I will ask for Mr. Meek.
The committee met today, but we will have a recommendation probably at the Committee of the Whole.
Yes, sir. Thank you. Mr. Lewis.
The Advocacy Committee met today and had the policy folks from Public Education Partners come and give an update on some of their policy recommendations. And we discussed that, but we didn't take any action. So we have nothing to present for vote at this time.
Thank you. Ms. Wells, anything from South Carolina School Board Association?
Think of it this time. We'll be sending out some other information about scheduling and what we have there in the coming weeks for the December conference.
Thank you so much. And I will say, for the record, Ms. Grayson, her mother had a total hip replacement, and she had to leave, and Mr. Sailors is on the road and said he had some emergency issues come up. So they would be here, and I'm sure they're disappointed that they're not getting to see all these beautiful faces out here in this audience. But we will take a picture and send them to them. Okay. Having no other reports, we'll go to 8.01, monthly financial report. Dr. Royster.
Thank you, Ms. Levinus Wells. Ms. Stacks here, she has a monthly financial report. I think there might be some highlights that you want to point out to the board and then answer any questions they might have. Ms. Stack?
Yes, sir. Thank you, Dr. Royster. The information included in your board packet tonight is for the third month of the fiscal year. And a couple of things just to note. The September 30th financial statement shows that we are receiving an increase in our tax revenue, and the majority of that is fueled by the vehicle taxes, as we saw from the FY19 fiscal year. It's continuing that trend, so we will keep tracking that as the year goes along. Also, property tax notices were mailed out towards the end of October this year. That's about a month earlier than they were mailed out last year. So that could have an effect on when we receive our property tax. We could receive some earlier than we did last year. And then finally, just on the line graphs for fund balance, that's just to remind you that those graphs show the financial condition of the school district as it tracks the changes in fund balance as we move through our fiscal year. So it's always good for you to look to see if there are any deviations from the prior year's line graphs. So that's all I have. Thank you.
Are there any questions? Yes, Mr. Meek.
We won't have to look. What is our fund balance? Unassigned.
The unassigned fund balance for the month of September is $127 million.
Thank you. I warned her I was going to ask a question.
Well, I'm glad you did. I was missing that question at the prior meetings. And Ms. Goodwin-Caldwell?
Thank you, Robin. On the general fund sheet, what is the transfer to other funds? What are those funds?
Transfer from other funds?
No, at the bottom of the page.
Those are school allocations that we make where we send money to the schools for like transportation, for athletics, things like that.
Okay, so it's just labeled transferred to other funds?
Yeah, student activity funds is considered another fund.
Okay, and I also have a question about the minority report. In looking at the vendors that are on there, are all of those minority vendors? Because when I went in and did my own research to look at some of these that are on the list, you might need to go in and look at those again, because a lot of those are not minority vendors.
We shall do that. Thank you.
Okay. That's all I have.
Is that it? Anyone else? Mr. Lewis?
Just a question for Dr. Royster. So the general unassigned fund balance is higher than it has been in the past few years. And I think there were some conversations at other meetings that perhaps there'll be a time when you'll be coming back with recommendations for those funds. Do you have an update on when
Yes, sir. We
expect that?
anticipate sending some information out to you probably by the end of this week, so you'll just have it a little bit ahead of time in preparation for the December Committee of the Whole.
Okay, thank you.
Anyone else? Yes, sir, Mr. Suddeth.
I see where we had a boardroom AV upgrade. What exactly was composed of that? What did we exactly do?
The entire sound system was replaced. The screens and projection system was replaced. Basically, everything in here that has to do with audio or visual.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, sir.
Any other questions? Yes, Ms. Wells.
So the unassigned fund balance in August, I guess we started at 100 million. It looks like it's down. I'm looking at the graph. It looks like it's 70 million for September. So that's the carryover, and so we're at 10.7%, and the highest we've ever been in previous years at this same time has been 6.1. Is that all because of the fund balance that we have carried over, or some of that also because of the tax bills going out and getting?
Well, fund balance is affected by additional revenue coming in for the months of July, August, and September, as well as the payments we made for our expenditures. So it's a combination of what we completed FY19 with, and then the differences between revenue and expenditures for those 3 months.
You're going to have a differential too, because you may recall it's been 2 years since we've asked you to do a drawdown on it.
In the fund balance, yeah.
So that's going to
right.
show, give some appearance of a skewing there as well.
Right, and what, do you have a sense of what you're going to tell us, how much of that fund balance you're going to recommend that we draw
Between
down?
$20 and $23.5 million.
Okay. All right, good, thank you.
Anyone else? Hearing, yes, sir, Mr. Meek.
Motion to adjourn.
Is there a second? Second, whoa. And any discussion? All in favor, please raise your right hand. All opposed, raise your right hand. The meeting is now adjourned, and this is your lucky night, students. Doug.